All right. Today is March 19th, 2025. It is 2:58 p.m. and we are meeting today for a workshop to discuss building code and building fees. So I'd like to just call this meeting to order, and if we could start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Present here with us today is our building department's head, Garrett, and I guess I'll just turn the conversation over to you.
Sure. So the state requires that we have a 45-day noticing period for our building department fee schedule. So annually, I try to get a soft approval through a workshop. Just, of course, nothing official, so that I can get it sent over to the state building codes division so that they can notice that prior to the hard approval at a business meeting of our fees. So that's one of the deals I'm bringing forward today. The other is some additions and some general maintenance to the Curry County Building Code. So as far as language on the building code, there were some grammatical errors, some stuff that needed to be struck from that, and then there was a section that we felt needed to be added, and that is penalties for illegal construction, retrospective permitting, and that's been a bit of an issue as of late. I mean, it's always been an issue, but it seems like it's kind of ramped up a little bit. So
is that just because there's no enforcement? Or there's no oversight, just people just...
Yeah, they feel like they can get away with it, so...
How are we catching them now?
Well, they want to try and buy, sell, make an addition, a legal addition, so they get the value back out of their property, and now it's coming to its inevitable outcome, which is trying to permit this illegal construction, which it should have been to begin with, and it's really at times challenging. So, and it costs the property owner more money in the long run. But what I'm finding happens more often than not is it's not the original homeowner who did the illegal constructions responsibility to fix it. It's whomever they've sold it to. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes it's sold under the false pretense that it is legal. So they're left unknowingly holding a bag, and they try to pull a permit, and we find that they're trying to permit work on an illegal portion of their structure. So that's typically how it comes about. So what we are proposing is, as kind of a deterrent against the illegal construction, is that so there's multiple fee line items in a building permit. There is the 12% state surcharge. There is a plan review portion. There is the community development fee, and so what we're proposing is just the building permit portion of that. So minus all that other stuff, we're making the recommendation that we want to charge 150% of the building permit fee.
If there's previous illegal construction?
Yes, if there is a legal construction to get it permitted. So the county in the past has taken the opposite track on illegal construction. We had an amnesty. So we allowed all of the individuals with illegal construction to come in and basically get everything brought up for less of a fee. And what that did is it encouraged the issue because, well, I mean, I would have, I pay less than if I would have just done it right the first time.
Better to outlaw it.
Yeah, and now we're trying to make it not okay, to try and dissuade this from continuing to occur.
So if the normal, if somebody comes in for a basic building permit, it's gonna be about 100% of the fee.
Correct.
And then if you find something else, it'd be an additional 50%.
Correct.
Oh,
And that's still kind of.
can you want to get a microphone, Ted? I was just about to be scolded by Natasha and, you know.
Make sure you turn it on.
So I just want to make sure, because right now, so you're saying 150%,
It's not a 150% increase. It would be,
Charging
it would be an
150%.
additional 50%.
so it's still a pretty good deal. I mean,
Depending on the size of the permit. Let's say if it is a new single-family dwelling, which we have one right now that I will be red tagging as soon as this meeting is over, when I go do my inspections. It's a whole brand-new house, and they already have it, the foundation poured, they have it shelled already.
oh, okay.
Sided, whole 9 yards. They do not, the inside of that home has not been roughed yet. So no plumbing, no electrical has been put in yet, but, yeah, so it's a big issue, and I mean, that could be a $5,000 permit, so you're talking a couple $1,000. I mean, that's.
But that's the penalty
That's the.
is only 50% of the addition of the actual.
But I guess Garrett's position is that that's still way better than the previous, which we were just giving them amnesty and saying, oh, you got away with it? It's the old Perry
Well-
County thing, we stole it fair and square. So
Well, why
let's-
don't we, if when we come across that, we have the assessor's office go do an immediate reappraisal on that property?
So currently, the assessors don't like to, well, rat people out because they they already have a difficult job and they need to be able to have access to people's property and they don't want to look like the bad guy, and that's completely understandable, and that's my job. I mean, I'm here to look like the bad guy. Structural safety is not, it's not the, the glorious.
I think what he's saying is the opposite. When
Yeah.
you catch it, and you are now going to, you're.
Turn them in.
did an unpermitted build.
Sure.
You are calling the assessor's office to say, go out and assess them for their new structure.
Absolutely.
Well, that absolutely comes into play as soon as a building permit is pulled. It puts they are on the list that's notified that has occurred, and it puts it on their radar, and they do go out after the permit is pulled. But until so, it's kind of an interesting situation. So existing structures are not my jurisdiction. Only if you pull a permit. So new and current construction is all I can really touch. So if you have a house, I mean, even if I suspect that it is probably illegal, I don't have the jurisdiction to come in and look in your house or to try and do that investigation. That's existing structures are kind of safe until something occurs that brings it into my realm, like they want to add on, alter, then I can touch it. So at that point, they're kind of voluntarily stepping into this. And like I said, a lot of time it's not the original owners that are coming forward. So making it punitive to try and dissuade, but not so punitive that we are, punishing. That's what I'm really trying to get.
I think it is probably a pretty common thing that it's subsequent owners that are affected by this. You end up having to pay the price later.
Yeah, and we really just want compliance, not necessarily to abuse the public by any means. So, because ultimately it's about the safety. Somebody needs to assure that people have safe and adequate habitation. So.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I feel like that's a good point. where if you're doing it, you know you're doing it, and you get caught doing it, seems like it'd be a little different penalty than if you just bought your first home and you go put a shop in, and then you're like, oh well, they didn't do your garage, they didn't permit your garage, so you can't have a
Right.
shop. And they're like, what? You know, they were completely just misled. I wish we could we could delineate between the two, the actual doer and the person who's maybe just.
One thing that, I mean, with the current scenario where, you know, the role of the real estate agent and so forth, this all should be, if everybody's doing their job, it should be disclosed. They call the planning department, they call the building department, they get the whole file, then the real estate agent does the
caught
due
in escrow.
diligence. And then then they get this all dealt with. And in reality, then if somehow that all gets under the radar, then theoretically, I would assume that the buyer would have a cause of action against both the seller and the real estate agent, and especially if you're giving the real estate agent a substantial amount of money to do this research, and it doesn't get done, or somehow you don't get notified.
Right.
Or as occurs quite often, you know, the original seller lets the prospective buyer know that it's an illegal structure, so they take the amount
Right.
off of the asking price to
Sure.
cover the permitting, and,
Yeah.
and so they kind of come in, you know, a lot of people do come in knowing what they're getting into. Some don't, but a lot do.
But yeah, Ted's right. That should all be caught during the escrow period.
It sure should.
Yep.
And at that time, we do have a policy in place to bring illegal structures up to a permitted status, bring them legal.
So now, just for my own education, how do you do that? If it's, say, you've already got a structure, it's already built, it's got electrical, it has plumbing, it's got everything, how do you then do your research to find out that if it's a viable structure?
Oh,
And-
great question. It's actually fairly simple.
Okay.
So what we do is we start the permitting process kind of as if it is a brand new build. I want a set of plans. I want to know exactly how it was built. I want to know the square footage, the floor plan, site plan. I want it all. Just as if you were starting from scratch. And then, but in addition to that, I want a letter from a licensed electrician and a licensed plumber stating that they have gone through the system. And of course, they cannot see what's in the walls, but from what they can see, that everything is safe and functioning as it is supposed to. And everything is there's no dangerous conditions.
Right. So say Garrett built a residence
Sure.
and there's no plans, you're just a good contractor and you know it needs to be done, and then Garrett Jr. comes and says, show me all your plans, and you're a licensed plumber report or electrician report and you can't provide anything like that. Is it something that is deemed to be taken down and started over, or then,
Well, I haven't ran into that situation yet.
Okay.
I have ran into situations. So the third part of that, I guess, just to throw it in there real quick, is an engineer's letter stating that they have come in, they have reviewed the structure, and it is safe. So what I have had is I've had engineers ask them to pop holes in their walls. I've had electricians and plumbers call out fixes that needed to be done prior to my final inspection, and then I still do come in and I do a final inspection. I'll look in the attic and the crawl space if there is one to make sure the insulation's there. I make notes in the file stating that I could not see the wall insulation unless the owners are willing to pop a hole open just in random locations to make sure there is. But yeah, I only certify what I can see. Okay. And so I can say that I'm not and I make sure to note in the file that I am not certifying this is 100% code compliant. I am certifying that per these licensed professionals and my own personal opinion from being on site and seeing the product, I believe it is safe to inhabit.
Okay.
So, kind of the path we take.
Yeah, it's a tough job.
Can be. Can be.
But there's usually a lot of back and forth. I mean, it's not as clean cut as all that. So just to try and get this unpleasantness, put in the past, I would really like to have a mechanism to try to dissuade future illegal construction from occurring at least at such a level as what's happening now.
I think it's a good start. See what happens.
Sure.
Yeah, and that's kind of, I mean, this is a starting point. I mean, we tried the other side, it didn't really work. Now let's try the punitive side to see if maybe that will help to dissuade. So, and if it doesn't, then we'll be back and with a fresh idea. So.
Okay.
But that's the big addition. There's some other cleanup language to the building code. In fact, I would like to hand this out to you real quick. These were some further corrections that were found and taken care of. Just that first page. This first page is the county code, and all the subsequent is the fees. And so you can see there was just a little bit of cleanup language, and what sparked that was I was looking at the fee schedule and the county code next to each other, and they in that section did not align. So what we did is on the back pages there in the fee schedule, you'll see that we just kind of changed the language on both and make them aligned where they both say the same thing. So we're not tripping ourselves up. And there was some other language that was corrected. There was language stating that reinstatement, you could reinstate an expired permit up to 30 days after their expiration. Our language is 180 days. So that was corrected in the structural, plumbing, electrical, and mechanical sections of the fee schedule. So that's what was highlighted there. And that was in addition to the fee increases.
Just some basic upkeep on the fees, it looks like.
Yep, that is.
Yeah, the fees aren't increased that much.
So the fees are not increased that much. What it was is the structural permit fee. So I do an evaluation of the fee every couple of years, and this year, and so how I do that is I take an average bill out rate of the inspectors. I take the our mileage fee that we use. I do how many trips, approximate distances of our average inspections. I take all that into consideration and I come up with a number. So every year that changes just a little bit, but I try not to change the fee schedule every year. I try to at least every couple years. Structural permit fee went up 16%. Plumbing looks like it was 8. Mechanical 16. Manufactured dwellings went up 8. And the big one was we've added the electrical program. So those fees are brand new, and the state's fees are always held artificially low. So I basically use the same numbers that I throw at the plumbing program. Since this is the first year, we have no information to use, so we're kind of starting with no background. So I use the plumbing numbers to justify the rate on that. So it is actually, that one is about a 226% increase from where it currently sits at the state's numbers. I have that documented as well, but that covers us to drive our time and our gas and the equipment running to go out to the site, do the inspection, and come back. And that's how I've justified that.
Okay.
Because we're not really out to make a profit on
Sure.
this. Everything is artificially held, just basically it's rounded up so that, I mean, we want to have a nest egg so that, you know, during lean times, we're not having to pull on, you know, monies that aren't ours to pull on, like general fund money. So we do round up on everything, but, you know, numbers.
Okay.
Well, obviously, we can't vote.
Correct.
All we can do is give you kind of a consensus feel of where we sit with it.
That's all I'm asking.
I can tell you, you know, on initial review, I don't see anything outlandish.
No, nothing was significant except for the retrospective permitting amount. And that's why I wanted to bring that up specifically. But the rest of it is marginal increases, nothing dramatic, no surprises on that except for the electrical fees.
I mean, I'm good with everything too, as long as we're covering our costs and not ending up in the red at the end of the year. I'm okay, and then it's always good to establish a little bit of a nest egg as well for emergency situations.
It's also good to note that he does it, he looks at them every year, basically. I can tell you he looks at them every couple of years, but he's looking at his rates and he's doing the math and figuring it out, and that's what, so a lot of our departments had not done that, and that's part of the reason that we're in the condition that we are right now. You know, for example, we just are updating the road department equipment rates that haven't been updated since 2013. And that's so much money left on the table with reimbursement from the state that it's hard to believe. So, anyway, and I don't know why you'd want to do that. You know, you can't run your budget if you're not basing it on something. So that's why this is the way it should be done.
Yeah. Well, I do have my spreadsheet where I justify all my fees. You guys are always welcome to that in the future if you ever have questions.
Are most of our local contractors pretty compliant with everything now, or are you noticing that a few of them are kind of crossed the line a little bit and we have to?
The contractors, as a general rule, are real good. It's oftentimes the smaller subcontractors or the homeowners that balk at the permitting process or the fees. Just especially a lot of the ones that they might come from a different area where they're used to a different treatment. But one thing that I have done is I have researched the surrounding counties to make sure that we are competitive and playing in the same ballpark.
Okay.
Which is, I feel fair.
Yep.
There is, a state standard code, so we all should be interpreting and using the code the same. So I feel that the fees should really be similarly done as well. That way, when you do work from one jurisdiction to another, it's fairly similar experience throughout.
Okay.
But so that's great. So if you guys feel comfortable, I will go ahead and get the fee schedule sent out to the Building Codes Division, and so they can post that or notice that. And then the other comment that I had was on the building code, and if you guys are comfortable with what I have changed, I would like to bring that to a business meeting to be voted on for approval.
Yeah,
So, okay? Nothing you guys want
get
to
it,
see changed or
get
any
it,
questions?
yeah, no, get it to Natasha.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Okay,
thanks, Garrett.
my pleasure.
Any other further discussions or anything? All right, then I will adjourn this workshop meeting at 3:24 p.m. Thank you.